What's up, you guys? It's your boy Jay Ransom. We back with some more behind the scenes for the Legend of Vox Machina. I'm late, been busy. Uh, Terrible lighting because it's 1 in the morning, Sunday. But only time I could shoot to get it out real quick. Cause I've been at Comic Con all weekend. Haven't had time to really record nothing. I recorded 2 episodes of some other stuff with my friend. First time trying it with another person. So look out for those. And I'm gonna try to finish the rest of these in one video. And then in a sometime in this week I'll get back to the show and continue that. But yeah. No, without further ado, let's continue. This is for the design of Vox Machina.
There's something about Phil Barassa that's incredibly contagious.
He's an amazing artist, he's an amazing designer, he's a genius.
He's just been knocking out of the park over and over again.
With his designs, it just solidified the characters in our heads on the page.
He's that good and he's that confident.
I love drawing this stuff.
Hey, I said from episode 1 I like the design, so shout out to dude.
We at Critical Role have been blessed with having our characters drawn by amateur and professional artists in the critter community for years. I've seen hundreds of versions of Scanlan Shorthalt. There's been such a broad spectrum drawn. But when I found out that Phil Barassa was going to be our official character designer for The Legend of Vox Machina, it was like a great weight had been taken off my shoulders.
I'm a huge fan of Phil Barassa's. I have been for many, many years. All of his work on the DC films. I saw his style and I connected with it.
Oh,
in
he
such
did
an
Young
acute
Joe. Oh,
way.
okay.
He has such a fantastic
I'm familiar
eye.
with his
I
work.
met Travis
I'm
before
a fan as well.
I knew about Critical Role. He was playing one of the heavies in a Batman movie I did all the character design for. I didn't talk to him after that for a few years. The next time we ran into each other, my wife and I were taking an early flight out of LAX to go to JFK for New York Comic Con in 2018.
As the fates would have it, when Laura and I sat down, I hear this, Travis? And I look to my left and across the aisle is Phil Barassa just sitting right there. And just in that moment, lightning bolt to the head, I was like, we got this animated series that we're developing.
Travis was like, would you be down to take a pass at these characters? And I was like, hell yeah.
That's
Just
dope.
something clicked for me drawing this stuff. I'm just shy of 20 years now doing this, and I spent the last 11 consecutive years doing superheroes. If I'm known for anything, it's for the work that I did on the DC superheroes at Warner Bros. Animation. But fantasy is my first love.
Phil is so amazing, and he's worked on a lot of the superhero stuff that Travis and I have done in the past, and his designs are phenomenal. So
I agree.
The fact that he came on board was a huge jump in excitement level for me.
I mean, the excitement
And
was hard to contain. So many of us.
The fact that he's
were
into
fans
fantasy,
of his work from what
it
he's
shows
done
in his
with
work.
WB. I'm a huge Batman girl, and I love all of that.
I knew Phil's work before I knew that it was Phil's work. I've seen his animation
Exactly,
before,
that's
and
me.
His character designs are gorgeous.
His design work is immaculate. His creativity is brilliant.
When I heard that Phil was going to be on the project, I was like, yes, they've got it. This is great. He's perfect.
Phil is pretty much a legend in the animation industry out here, and the idea that he would be coming on to the project with us, I don't think I even believed it at first.
My reaction to Phil Barassa was like, no fucking way.
I'm gonna have to remember that name next time I go to a
There
con.
was something about the project that spoke to me on a deeper personal level that I was willing to take the chance on working with a completely new creative team. Critical Role presented this opportunity to be at the ground floor of something relatively new and fresh. And even though the lore was clearly well defined and the characters were well defined, there was so much to explore on a visual level.
I'm gonna look
Normally,
up after
when
I'm done with
creating
this to
a
see if he's
design,
even
it comes
at
from
LA Comic
the
Con.
written
If
word,
he is, I'll
or
stop by.
comic book, or even just the writer's script. These characters come from the imagination and the heart and the soul of the voice actors, the cast members, who are the creators and founders, right? So they were very involved.
I had a lot of input. I mean, I gave notes on the feathers, I gave notes on the hair, I gave notes about how much she wants to use her feminine wiles, so, you know, I didn't want her to be too brazen.
So much was determined by the performances, what the creators had imbued in their creations. The way Laura's performance informs the way that I draw the character. She's got to have some sass. She's got to have some attitude. Whereas Keyleth has this charming naivete, like an innocent aspect.
Every time we pull up an image or a turnaround of Keyleth, everyone in the room is just like, oh, she's so cute. She's just a little button. And I think because Keyleth has this fresh
She has that innocence
look
about her.
at the world, we really wanted to reflect that in her character design.
Even his first designs and his first stab at Scanlan was kind of perfect. I don't think we changed that much. We were just nitpicking on collar size and hair shape. Everything else, like Phil's first takes, are everybody else's 10th take.
I need to
The
look up
first stuff I
his
saw of
his
Grog,
work because I know
The
him.
frame is right, the expression.
Hearing him talk normal.
right, and he just
Yeah, definitely know him
gets
from
the
a lot of
bearing
stuff.
of the guy because it's so easy to make a hulking figure look intimidating. But Grog has to be able to convey both the rage and the fury of a strong jaw, but also like the warmth and the gentle nature of Grog.
He's kind of the Hulk, but he's kind of not. There's a cuteness to Grog too. So there were things that we played with, like the size of his ears.
Phil did such a good job with just the nuance of each of the characters' personalities coming through.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
hair color to the color of her armor and the little scrapes on her armor, and he just took it to the next level.
They've created these original characters, but they're also very archetypal. Like Percy and Vax are dexterity builds, so they're very lithe and long to kind of bring out to show the agility and the dexterity inherent in the class.
Percival is a character that Phil grasped so quickly and understood how everything was supposed to lie, especially when standing with everybody else, has a very unique look and a unique vibe.
Phil's excellent at what he does, and both with Vax and with all these characters, he has come in, landed pretty close to the target already, and then, you know, we're able to sort of shoot ideas back and forth, and then the next week it's there.
It's been really cool working with him to kind of take these characters that don't just live in my brain, but each one of them has a part of me in them, and then have them come back even prettier than I could have ever hoped for.
Watching him dive into this fantasy scape, Phil's just flexing. He's having a blast.
Phil gets
Phil's
it,
had
like,
tons of leeway
clothes
to just create
do matter
whatever his mind can dream up.
to match the like vibe. on
Something
the
that's really
character,
important about
their
this
personality.
animated series is
I think
we
that's
wanted
important.
it to be
The wardrobe
definitely and
shit
distinctly
matters.
an adult series. It's for grown-ups. So we wanted to make sure that the world, the background, the atmosphere, and the character designs both sort of read as sophisticated, mature.
We definitely want to make sure that this show feels unique, and I think Phil
Oh, it
was
does.
well aware of that and totally down to just try anything and throw ideas at the wall and see what stuck.
Phil's designs capture the kineticism and flow of the best that Japanese animation has to offer while
It says
feeling
Studio Ghibli
uniquely
poster you had up
Western
there.
and uniquely, honestly, uniquely themselves.
Phil's stuff definitely leans way more in the anime direction, and anime itself is kind of like part of the DNA of Titmouse's look and culture. All of us here watch a shit ton of anime, so he almost was a perfect fit in the sense that he's looking at the same exact kind of stuff and incorporating that into his designs.
He just came to this with a vigor and an excitement that we couldn't help but be excited alongside it.
There almost couldn't be a better match as far as Western character designers than Phil.
We are pouring every ounce of passion and love and creativity that we have at our disposal into trying to bring this world to life.
Watching Phil dive into this world, you kind of got the sense of an athlete sort of stretching. He's really just starting to break out of anything that he's done before. It's only limited by what your imagination can envision, and for Phil, there is no shortage of that.
I really have not experienced anything this good in animation.
I'm hoping we can do a lot of seasons of this show.
I think we're only really getting started with him.
Oh yeah,
He's
that
blown
was
us out of the water with everything that we have in season 1. God's help us for what's in store in season 2.
Yeah, man, y'all got a lot of stuff coming. All right. Yeah, like I said, episode 1, I thought the designs were phenomenal. I didn't know it was by a legend. I'm a fan of some of those projects, even if I don't like all of them like that. But like the design wise, beautiful. Yeah, that was nice seeing those. And like I said, the background, like last episode, I said like the backgrounds are a character in the story. So you gotta have them. You gotta have them looking nice. You gotta have detail in them. The background's important. The background's a character in the story. Music for TV shows, whatever movie, that's a character. And it has to match. It has to bounce off well with the character in that moment. In the same way, not to the same degree like the outfit, but I think the outfit is important on like displaying a character's personality, because you get a little hint of what they might be like. But let's get into the next episode. This is for the voices. Okay. Maybe I could learn some, like where some of them from, because of this. Because I already familiar with Travis, Laura, Ashley, and Matthew Mercer. But yeah, I'm familiar with this guy. I just don't know what he's in, but I know his voice.
Episodes are just like the pure essence of the characters and what we did together.
It's a project unlike anything I've
No,
ever
not him.
seen
This
before.
guy.
It's so weird that it's happening, but it's so cool.
I'm getting impatient for the final thing to get done just so people can see it and be as excited about it as we are.
Your minds are gonna be blown, y'all.
As a person that has been a lifelong fan of cartoons, it's kind of been a dream
Same,
to work
bro.
on one from a production standpoint, let alone from a voiceover standpoint, and now to kind of marry them all together and have it be based on something that I kind of made up is crazy.
At the end of the day, the creators of this property are professional voice actors, and seeing them working on their own disparate projects is cool, but seeing them all in one room together, it's so good.
We
Yeah,
are
that's
just a
beautiful.
group of high-key nerds, but we also happen to be, good at what we do. It's like we're craftsmen who make tables, except we are great with voice work and now just endless improv with each other.
Voice acting as a character that I created in a show that I helped create. It's both the end of a long voice acting journey and also the beginning of a new voice acting journey.
That should be
Give
a
us a couple,
sleep.
rolling on 45.
Finding a director for this
But
project was
I
a
ain't get these
challenge,
videos
partially
out for
because
something.
we have very good directors as part of our cast who
So I'm
do
staying up the whole
phenomenal
night.
work, but we all also understood that we wanted somebody outside of the room who could make us better than we could be on our own.
It was a very short list, and at the top of it, of course, was our good friend, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn.
I've been directing all of these amazing actors for years. For me, creativity comes with trust, and I think we all trust each other enough to help bring out the best with each other, and there's enough respect there to make sure that this collaborative area is safe.
Beyond
Hold on. I like that they went back to old school, because a lot of times nowadays they record separately. I miss when they record together. Like if you've seen old stuff from like Cartoon Network, they had the actors together. Because even I was at a panel for Avatar: Last Airbender. They had Aang, Sokka, the cabbage vendor merchant, uh, Ty Lee, and Suki there, and they were saying they recorded separately. They didn't meet till after the rap party for season 3. I'm like, so even then, because Avatar came out like 2005 or 6, so even then they started to do that less and less. But yeah, like I saw like Ed and Eddie, they record together. I think Johnny Bravo, like a lot of old stuff, early 90s. I mean 90s and early 2000s. I'm sure there's some projects they still record together, but I love seeing them record together. I think it just, not saying there's a problem with the acting now, but like I don't know, this is more special to me. Like having them be in the same room recording lines.
It's there to make sure that this collaborative area is safe.
Beyond all of us just personally loving Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, you may remember her as Zara back in Campaign 1.
On top of just coming and doing, guest episodes
Oh,
for us,
so I might
she
see her.
actually watched the series. She would text us during the game and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. So she knows who our characters are and she knows where they're going.
We didn't have to give her any kind of information download. She knows it and is part of it.
Those few
That's
episodes
cool.
that I actually got to go on as Zara in Critical Role changed my life. It changed my perspective on so many things, and it taught me how important storytelling was.
It's been amazing watching her come into each one of the sessions, settle us down, get our minds in the right space for where the episode is, and then just step back with her baton and just start to conduct the symphony of idiots that's in there.
When we started this whole thing playing tabletop around Matt's dining room table, we were all gathered together, the 8 of us, in a room face to face. And now recording the cartoon, we are all 8 of us in a room together, and we are creating a story together, just us 8 friends.
That is so
Everybody on a
dope, bro.
mic in one room, and that energy was electric.
Like I started a YouTube channel, this channel that I'm on with some friends, but like people just not into it no more, or like they expected like success quick, or they wanted me to do everything. So yeah, this channel going through many phases, but like that, if you get to do something that you love and you have fun doing, you have fun like playing and you're passionate about, and you get to do it with people who you have a strong connection with, that is amazing. And then like this, they doing it on their own terms, with people who they respect from all walks of life, like whether in all departments, from like art, storyboarding, animation, character design, and just their overall group of friends come together to like do this project that they've been passionate about. They've been playing for years, and then to get an animated show, to do it together, to see their story come to life from playing a tabletop game, and to get it supported by tons of fans, to be made to this, and then picked up by a major studio in Amazon. This is beautiful. This is a dream, honestly. That's amazing, man.
Stepping into that booth the first time was obviously very, very exciting. I think all of us were like, is this a joke? Is someone like pulling a prank on us?
We were giddy with excitement.
The joy and elation that was in that room was something that still is carried through every aspect of this process.
The energy in the room when we're recording is just like it was in those early days when we were making each other laugh, cracking each other up, laughing at each other's mistakes and flubs.
It's an interesting, strange mix between extremely professional and a very filthy preschool where everyone's swearing all the time.
We've all been in the booth with each other in various ways in the past anyway, but it's so different when it's something that you've created.
I've never been part of a show where the main cast were also more or less producers, so we have an intense amount of control with what happens.
So the challenge for me with this was to distance them all from that and have them all be in the moment, in the studio, and just to let them run with it.
Mary is so in
Yeah,
tune
I
with the
understand.
actors.
Yeah,
Give
that
us
makes sense.
one more version that's got a little of that Scanlan bounce, less earnest.
She knows exactly how to get us out of the comfort zones of our character, which I think is important. We know these characters so well that I think sometimes that can get in our own way.
Having her ideas and her overall creative view and lathering that in with ours has helped us elevate our performances and bring it to the best version of it can be.
3, 2, 1.
Not all animation allows actors to record in group settings, but
Yes. I hate that. I hate it.
it invariably gives a more nuanced performance and also provides a better opportunity for chemistry to happen in the group.
We'd
I
all
agree.
been imagining it, and
I
it was
agree.
just as much fun and inspiring.
Anytime I see they
and
or
beautiful
hear
a thing
they
as we thought it would be.
Lightning and
recorded
fucking
alone,
bottle just happening every time we
I
got in
get-
the studio.
That was
I get disappointed.
just the greatest thing ever.
It
And we
doesn't
got
hurt
to
my
do it a couple
enjoyment
times.
of watching the
And
show,
then
but like, yeah, it
the
just
pandemic
sucks.
hit.
And then everything, of course, fell apart everywhere.
Okay, so this is where I have been doing my twinning.
Recording studio.
Oh
This is
yeah,
legit.
COVID.
This is where
I
the
was like,
magic
what you mean?
happens.
We found that we quickly had to go remote, just like everyone else.
Now we do everything on Zoom through either Source Connect or IPDTL.
For us on the voiceover side, we were partially prepared for that. Most of us have some kind of a rig set up at home so that we can audition.
I mean, I personally had put off trying to make a good home booth for myself for years, but then suddenly, like, the world shut down, and it's funny what a little panic will do as an incentive.
I had to completely re-overhaul my office in the period of a couple weeks to make it a studio.
We tried
Dang,
to
that's
find
rough.
the area of our house that was most insulated, something that didn't share an exterior wall. And for us, that was our closet and our bedroom. It already works because most of the clothes in your closet act as a natural dampener.
Once more into the darkness. It was definitely hard not to feel concerned that we might be losing a piece of the magic by having to switch to a remote recording session.
That's
I really
understandable.
miss being able to do it all together. But thankfully, a lot of us came up in video games, so we're used
Yeah.
to the solo recording
Exactly.
experience, and a lot of us can still deliver at the top of our game without having other people there to play off of.
We record each individual actor from home, usually one at a time, but sometimes 2 or 3 people can record together via the magic of online communication.
So
That's
if there
dope.
are scenes where you really want that more conversational dynamic between the two actors, we've done sessions where Liam will stay on the Zoom call with me and he is
Shout out to
reading
y'all.
his lines. That way Keyleth sounds the most genuine in her response to him.
Even though we're separate, there are some positives to it.
I'm
Since
glad
we're
they found a way to
recording
make it
individually
work.
remotely from different locations, we can talk over each other all we want. And it's getting picked up on 2 separate mics and the audio is totally clean.
You can have a little bit more of a natural read almost.
What did I say? It's not like I suggested we take a bath together or something.
What? So you get a much more fun time with improvisation and laughing and reacting, and it's live and it's real. So I see that as one of the great silver linings of having to do everything at home.
The other thing it sort of affords us is we get to go back and fix anything that we think is bad. So like Liam will watch an episode of the show and be like, ooh, I wish I could redo that line. And we're like, hey, guess what? You can. You own a microphone, go record it.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I can potentially spend 10 minutes on a single line doing 15 takes because I just want to make sure that it's perfect, and we're always our own worst critic.
It's turned a lot of really good
Yeah, that
scenes into
happens.
excellent scenes.
We've all been forced to readjust, but we've all taken that challenge.
Normally in a project like this, you're kind of in the dark about things, but we all know what we're doing, what everybody else is capable of.
It also helps that we've played these characters a zillion times.
Performance-wise, I don't
And that's
know
what makes
if
it so
has
special
affected
again.
anything other than me just consciously knowing that I'm in a closet.
It's weird to say it doesn't feel that different.
We've adjusted, because what else can you do?
Thankfully, we do still have table reads, so we still get to like read it together before we record. I kind of miss being able to go and engage with the development teams and the artists in person and kind of have that around the table designer meetings throughout the week, and it's all just Zoom screens now.
I think one of the most rewarding things for us has been casting and recording these characters that we have enjoyed and loved coming out of Matthew Mercer's mouth, but obviously because of reasons, we need to find new voices for them.
I still want to hold on to some characters that I feel a connection with, so I am excited to be coming in as Silas Briarwood. Beyond that, popping up here and there is all sorts of random characters and NPCs in the world.
There will definitely be some voices you will not be surprised to hear. Can't talk about so many things yet, but it's going to be great.
When it comes right down to it, we love acting with our voices, whether it's in radio commercials or video games or our own animated series. So
yeah, I know
you
Troy
can bet
Baker's
that we
in
put our
a
heart
few
and soul
episodes.
into every recording.
I'm actually
and
seeing
every
him later
line.
today.
It's crazy that we've
signing
got
some
to make
stuff
this
and getting a
amazing
photo.
show that I cannot wait for people to see in little pods all by ourselves.
It's still coming together just much more slowly, and it still sounds so good.
Look, every project has love behind it, and I know that you can feel it. But there's something special about this. There's something special about this group.
The
It is.
epic level
It
of this
is.
show, I think, is going to blow people
I noticed
away.
it
It was what we
episode
were hoping
one.
for, and then we quickly realized that
But
even we had to raise our level of expectation.
Each time I learn a
because
bit
we
more,
can.
We want
I'm
this
like,
to
okay,
be a love letter
I'm
to
understanding
all
why
the people that supported us through all this
it's
time
special.
and made all of this
all
possible.
over again.
I'm a critter too, so I'm as much of a fan as you guys are.
Oh, so y'all are called critters. Okay. You know, very nice comments and on my reaction, but you know, can't trust everything everybody say. I could have researched it, but you know, gave me a lot of good information. But yeah, okay, critters for real. Cool.
So I think you're just gonna love it.
I can't wait for people to see it. It's so cool.
Everything that's being brought to the table performance-wise is going to level people.
There have been challenges, but I think we've all kind of risen to the task of making sure that it didn't prevent us from making this the best show we could make it.
I know it's been a long wait for the fans. Trust me, it's worth it.
All right, y'all. I'm back. It is morning now. I went to the bathroom, laid down for a second, watching the video, passed out. So I'm about to try to get this up before I go to Comic-Con, leave the Comic-Con. So let's get into the next one.
If you have a good sound system, get it ready. Get on the TV, crank the volume up.
When the
Why is it
music
so-
kicks in, it's epic.
It's the final cherry on top.
I think everyone's gonna love the ride that the show takes you on.
Music of okay.
Just like seeing a lot of the art come out of the design teams and the background artists and the animators, hearing character themes, hearing intense moments of our story being giving its original score, it's incredible. It gives goosebumps instantaneously.
You know, it's funny, I didn't really think that I was that familiar with Neil Apree's music before he signed on to the project, but it turns out I really was. You've heard Neil's music if you've ever played any of the games that he is so well known for.
I worked for many years on the Stargate franchise, and then at some point got an opportunity to write music for video games, and that meant World of Warcraft, and that led to StarCraft 2 and Diablo 3 and Overwatch eventually. It's great to work with people
Okay.
who
I
are
was like,
good
I'm
at their
not familiar
jobs,
with work,
Of course, but it's
I played
even more
Overwatch.
spectacular when you can work with someone whose enthusiasm for your project makes it not your project anymore, it's our project. And he's a true collaborator in that sense, that we are making something together.
When I first heard about the Kickstarter, I knew right away I had to be involved in some way. It's the kind of project my entire career has been preparing me for. At that moment, I realized I can talk all I want about this, but the only way to really convey my enthusiasm is to do it through music.
unbeknownst to us, Neil, on his own, scored a variation of what he called sort of the Critical Role theme, bringing in elements from previous versions, but also just building the size of the sound to show what could be possible.
I went all in, hired an orchestra, recorded it, sent
want
it
to
to
be a
Sam
part
and
of
said,
this.
This
Let
is
me
just
show
my
you."
way of saying thank you for considering me.
It hit our inbox, and I think I stood in the kitchen with a glass of water and listened to it about 37 times. It was one of the first moments where we really realized what could be possible with how we deliver this show. Neil knows our show. He knew the characters, he knew what the world was like, he knew what the different areas of Exandria were, and he was already talking about different themes for different locations.
Neil has such an epic grasp of fantasy, but it's also grounded and modern, which is exactly what we need, because Legend of Vox Machina is not a period piece, it is not historical, it is a modern fantasy.
Matt's vision for
It's-
the world that these characters
It's so
want
cool
around
they
him
got
is
so many
so
like, fans
sweeping,
aboard the project.
gorgeous, and Neil's music meets that.
He's made music for in all kinds of different genres, electronic music and classical music.
He creates these really unique sounds.
We're really lucky to have him on this team.
Instead of adapting the RPG, I'm adapting the cinematic influences that they had when they created these moments. I get in front of a keyboard and I start playing along, and it's kind of become this intuitive thing where it's kind of a puzzle. The acting and the pacing of the scene are clues that'll help get you halfway there, but then finding these threads that will tie the entire season together. I write all my music on keyboard, and that means using computers to trigger sounds. So if I play a note on the keyboard, I'll hear a violin sound or a French horn sound or a drum sound, and that allows me to create a mock-up of the music as it's going to be recorded by the orchestra before we even get musicians to record it.
That's dope.
I had the chance to bring in some longtime collaborators like Tina Guo. Paul Cartwright is playing fiddle. Kristen Nigas playing woodwinds. The orchestra we're working with is the Budapest Scoring Orchestra in Budapest, Hungary. And for the main title, I brought in bagpipe player Eric Rigler. He played on Titanic and Braveheart.
Okay, I know those.
The one thing I knew starting out
And
is
people
that Your Turn to Roll
is
theme
just so
had to be
talented
a
because I don't even
presence
know
in the
how
score.
you just come up with this.
Both as a fan of it myself, and I knew it's something that the fans would want to hear.
Your Turn to Roll is really the song that we have built most of the second campaign around, but there are elements of it now that are just associated with Critical Role as a brand. So we wanted to implement that, if we could, in a smart way that would make fans of the show smile.
He's taken some elements of the Critical Role theme song and shifted and adapted and rearranged it so that it fits into the world of the Legend of Vox Machina.
In moments of action, humor, sadness, Neil will brilliantly weave these notes from that song in.
If you are a music nerd, you're going to catch a lot of wonderful little nods.
It's there as much as I can get it in. I've tried to do my best to build upon that and take it into new adventures.
This isn't just your mom and dad's fantasy series. It's not all one musical genre. We're bringing in a much wider breadth of musical influences that makes it way more interesting in my mind than just sticking to one genre.
The characters of
I
Vox
agree.
Machina have such clearly defined personalities, and I've tried to find ways to connect musically with those. To me, Grog is heavy metal. Pike and Keyleth, I've approached both with a similar kind of flute and choir. Percy, a little bit of a classical operatic approach. Vax and Vex have this gracefulness to them, so I've been handling that with strings playing this kind of classical waltz. I remember when I first started working on the show, I was trying to find the voice and kind of define some parameters. And then at one point, Sam asked me to write a heavy metal piece where Scanlan's playing the lute and it turns into a heavy metal guitar. And I'm like, all the rules are out the window. Scanlan
Yeah,
opened
they
up
definitely
the
are.
musical
'Cause
Pandora's
I was
box
shocked by those.
with the songs that
Like
that
every
Sam and
musical
Peter
moment
wrote.
he had.
Scanlan's music serves all kinds of different purposes. In a practical sense, his singing and music activates his magical powers. But the main point of the Scanlan songs, for me anyway, is just to make people laugh.
It was very
Yeah,
important to us
I
in
got
the
that.
beginning that the Legend of Vox Machina have the balance between emotional moments and comedic moments.
If it was just sweeping music and beautiful vistas, it wouldn't be us. We're a bunch of dumb fucks. So Sam grounds us in reality that way. Boy, Sam in reality. That's a comparison I've never made before.
In the campaign, I used to spoof top 40 hits from the radio, but for the series, we decided to make Scanlan's music completely original. And so me, along with my brother-in-law, Peter Habib, have composed a brand new set of Scanlan originals.
There's a lot of personality with this
That's
character.
dope.
He's got his own voice, so we've got
That-
to use that voice to further
That definitely
along
in
the plot
episode
and to
3 that
entertain.
threw me
The
off.
dynamic
I
between
was like,
Sam
oh,
and Peter is
we
amazing,
really just doing
and the result has been nothing short of spectacular.
all types of
There's
music.
short
Like
little songs that are just really
I
well
noticed in the
written
first
and
episode, but
are
like
funny.
We keep laughing
just
because
that
it always
kind of
hilarious, but it makes sense
funk.
and it
I was
fits
like,
and it
oh.
elevates the narrative.
While most
We
of them will
doing
make you
everything.
laugh, they're also a jam.
They have no right to be so good. You want them to be stupid because of Scanlan, but they're so catchy.
Every time a new one gets shared, my heart, like the Grinch, grows 2 or 3 sizes.
It's been liberating to be able to work on a show where it exists in this fantasy world. It leads you down a lot of paths that you might not have ordinarily taken.
The songs of Scanlan Shorthalt definitely bring to life facets of that odd combination of classic fantasy and modern slapdickery. I have no other way to really explain it.
Through the course of Sam and I writing these wild songs, I've gotten a lot of insight into what a dirty birdie he is.
My toe is going in and out. Gonna make you twist and shout. That rhymes and it's dirty.
I knew they were going to be extra.
It rhymes,
They've
it is
gone
dirty.
Super, super extra. Possibly one of the big reasons why this is going to be a very adult cartoon.
We touched on a
I
lot
love
of different
that. That is
musical
dope.
styles and genres. Everything from a little bit of a hip hop edge to a funk and a soul edge to a country kind of style.
There are absurd songs and there are heartfelt songs.
It's magic.
The creative outlets are flooded completely open with this show.
In my career, I've had the chance to work on a lot of very beloved franchises, so I understand what it means to take the story and to try to deliver the best I can to help bring it to the fans, to bring it to a new audience, and I just want to make this the best it can be.
Folks, we've given a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into
Yes.
the last couple years of music
Every
that
piece
we've
is like
generated
a-
for this show. My hope is that
a
it
body
brings
part.
the world that you guys know so well to another level.
To get to contribute
music,
to
the
this, to be a
characters,
part of this story is a huge honor, and I hope that everyone
the background,
enjoys the show as much as we've all enjoyed it.
environments of the world. All right, this final one. This is
When we first played through this campaign, we would have never imagined that we would get some of these names to be voices on our show.
there's more of the
Man, I
cast.
feel like a broken record when I just keep fanboying over the actors who are playing these characters, but I'm a fanboy for all the actors who are playing these characters. Ah.
Oh no, they're all so good.
I can't believe these people are working on the show.
I know Lance Reddick is in there. Carrie Payton.
It's an interesting circumstance to be developing an animated series where I created and performed so many of these characters, and then now we have the opportunity to bring them to life. And I should not play all of them. I am genuinely really excited for and have been excited to find the right people to breathe life into these characters in ways that I never could.
Just like the player characters, all of these NPCs that you've seen, they have a piece of Matt in them. They feel like friends. So when we were casting it, there has been that deep amount of levels of consideration to make sure that they will truly be the exact perfect fit
Part of us will always want
Yeah,
Matt to
your
voice
babies.
every old man, woman, child, but it's been surreal to hear the guests we've had come in and bring some of these long cherished characters to life.
One of those NPCs that is beloved by all is Sean Gilmore of Gilmore's Glorious Goods. And after a lot of back and forth with Matt, Matt himself was actually the one that was very adamant about allowing someone else to take a shot at this beloved character.
I wanted to make sure that his importance to the story was given the care that it deserved.
We really wanted to find somebody who is funny and still full of life, and I think we found him.
Sunil Malhotra has done an incredible job of portraying Gilmore.
Sean Gilmore is, in my imagination, a naughty,
Not
sexy,
sure if I'm familiar with your
mischievous
word.
cat. If he's not selling his wares, he's selling himself.
Sunil brings playfulness, charisma, respect.
I feel very close to Gilmore. Just full of energy and life and verve. That is like hand in glove for me.
He is bringing a very unique flair and passion to the role, and is really good at hooking a finger under Vax's chin still.
What we ended up with was enough of Matt's version of the character that we still recognize him as the Gilmore that we fell in love with, but this new spin, a new take that has an authenticity that we could not have gotten if...
Yo, I'm serious. If you guys ever, I forget the name, the title. It's like Skeleton couldn't protect the dungeon or something like that. Webtoon. He like when he dies, he reincarnates at like checkpoints that he's hit in his life. He like belonged to like a dragon chick, I think, at first, and he belonged to a necromancer, and he like gets abilities. Anyway, it's this person in there who's the enemy of the skeleton. Looks like this dude. Lighter skin tone, but similar build and stuff. And I guess makeup and all that.
Matt had played the character.
The voice really hits everything that you want out of Gilmore. I'm quite pleased.
As Matt painted it, Exandria is such a broad, diverse, crazy place filled with all kinds of voices from around the realm. And to populate that with voice actors who aren't just the main 8 cast members of Critical Role was always a big goal of ours, to make this world feel expansive and real.
This show is a great big stew of unbelievable casting choices and people that you have been waiting for and knew were going to be part of it.
We are blessed with choice when it comes to extremely talented people that happen to be friends of ours. And so there have been opportunities in the series to have people like Kari Payton.
Not unfamiliar to Critical Role fans for his portrayal as
Kari,
Shikasta or in Undeadwood. Sovereign Uriel is a huge part, which meant that we needed a huge voice. Kari Payton was someone that we turned to for that, and he delivered instantly. He has
King
a level
Ezekiel.
of regality to his voice that you just can't ignore.
He just brings so much weight and integrity to Uriel and gives it even more character.
He
than
played
I
like
would've
5
imagined.
characters in Young
We're trying
Justice.
with some of the casting to make sure that everybody you want to hear who's been a part of the family sneaks in there every now and then. Felicia Day is a perfect example of someone you will hear rattling around Tal'Dorei.
You'll hear her doing her level best to defend Amon against its
Yeah, I
enemies
know
in a few
Felicia
of the
Day.
early episodes.
Fuyamon as one!
We would not be here without Felicia Day. She took a chance on us, she saw the possibility, and we knew that we wanted to use her.
We also have people that we have known and love, such as Bobby Hall.
Okay, we'll take you in. But the bear waits outside.
Good old Bobby Hall got to play some guards in some of the early
I was
episodes.
like, why he look familiar?
He was phenomenal.
Also stepping
I
up
never
for
knew his
character
last
favorite from
name,
the Vox
so.
Machina campaign is Eugene Bird as Jarrett. Jarrett got a new role in this show. He is now a captain of the Arms of Amon in the animated series.
I think Jared is one of the coolest
I think
characters
I-
in the campaign.
Jared's the
Eugene
kind of guy
before.
that you need to prove it to him. You need to prove it to him more than a few times.
Eugene is like such a wonderful human being and such a wonderful person. He was in Gears of War with me, and I was so excited
Oh,
when
okay.
he was cast.
General Kree is a
JD,
character
I mean,
from our
not
early home game
JD.
days that some fans may not be super familiar with, but he did reside on the
I don't
Council of
remember his name.
Tal'Dorei, and we had to turn to a big voice for his
Like
character.
Gears 5.
Hello,
Gears 4 and
my
5.
name is David Tennant, and I'm playing General Krieg.
David Tennant's in our show? What?
Being able to bring him on board to bring an NPC like Krieg to life, a pre-stream NPC. So he really is the one that brings it to life for the community as well for the first time.
I can't believe you made it out alive.
He was so excited to be part of this project because he had seen the path that it took.
I think it's fantastic. I think this is how all shows should be pitched. They should all start in somebody's front room and end up on television. Why not?
Knowing what that character is going to be required to do, David was fantastic to work with.
We've also had guest appearances by Tony Hale.
Of Veep fame is our Fence. He transformed into this slimy, scheming Fence so brilliantly.
Playing the head cleric is Anjali Bhimani. Her dulcet tones matched perfectly with the character. Don't want to forget Cassandra DeRollo, sister of Percy, played by Esme Creed Miles. The Tavern Keeper, which was a fan-created character, voiced by Mason Alexander Park, who was incredible. They
I
knocked
heard
it
of
out of the
Esme
booth.
before.
The goddess voice of the Everlight is Tracy Toms. Incredible voice, incredible performer.
And One Punch Man himself, Max Middleman, as Desmond, the coachman
Okay,
for
I
the
thought he
devious
sounded familiar.
Briarwoods.
Bryn, who is a brand new character to the series, is voiced by Stacey Raymond. Also in the Whitestone crew as Keeper
I'll have to
Yenin,
look up some of these
we have
actors.
Gina
I'm not
Torres.
sure.
Your first take of her is really
I
someone
know
of
her.
great calm and spirituality, but she has a much greater agenda. She also has a couple of tricks up her sleeve, which make her a badass.
When it came to the character of Archibald Desnay, we made some changes to the character overall and also wanted to push this young rebel leader with a voice print that we thought would do it justice. We're big fantasy fans, so again, in Shooting for the Moon, we reached out to Dominic Monaghan, and he said yes.
Archibald
Not
is
sure.
a kind of buccaneering, swarthy man of short stature. He tends to let his fists and his axe do the talking.
He just sounds like such a badass dwarf.
Then we need to make our next move count. Gather every able-bodied fighter in Whitestone.
But we have a
Yeah,
hobbit
he fits it
on our
pretty
show.
well.
It's amazing.
Also, Stephen Root. We are huge fans of his, from everything from Office Space to Barry. The way that he chews and works with his words gave a whole new shape to the character of Anders.
Tick tock, you're wasting time.
Vedmeyer
I couldn't
also
stand
cuts
him and
an
Barry, but
extremely
great actor.
intimidating profile, and we knew with a half giant of his size, we needed a voice to match it. You can't go wrong with Royer McCann, the Hound from Game of Thrones. Dr.
Okay,
Anna
nice.
Ripley is another one of the Briarwood henchmen that we knew we needed to bring to life, and Kelly Hu does
Oh
an
my
incredible.
god. I love Kelly Hu, y'all. Lady Deathstrike and X2, Cheshire, Young Justice. So many roles. I think she's in Saints Row. She's in a lot of video games. She's in Battlefield. So many video games, so many cartoons. She was in one show I was watching recently. Forgot. But yes, I love Kelly Hu. Hope I get to meet her one day. I recommended some music on Twitter one time, and she liked my tweet. So that's an accomplishment for me.
Job of that.
Don't play dumb. It won't end well for you.
God, Kelly is a villain. It's a really, really sharp performance.
So two of the NPCs that obviously jumped to our mind in the beginning was Lady Allura Vysoren and obviously Lady Kima of Vord. Big shoes, big characters, beloved by all. And we quickly turned to an angelic voice from Game of Thrones, Indira Varma, for Lady Allura Vysoren.
She has this grace and this prim quality to her.
I must object, Sir Finch. We don't even know what the creature is. Demon? Elemental? And how do you propose we capture it?
She was able to deliver this very delicate, soft, but powerful dialogue.
I love you, Matt. I love your voice as Allura, but it's so amazing to hear the woman come to life.
I saw her
And then
something
her
recently
partner in
too.
crime, Kima of Vord, played by the incredibly funny Stephanie Beatriz.
She has just the perfect cadence and the
Not
perfect
familiar
deadpan
with her.
delivery and just nails it with her total disdain for the entire group of Vox Machina.
She's large and in charge, even though she's under 4 feet tall.
Stephanie is a fantastic badass of the utmost variety.
Playing a badass is an internal thing. It is about the space that you've decided that you take up. It isn't about how small or big you are.
She just like got it immediately and sounds exactly like I pictured Kima sounding.
While I miss Matt as Lady Kima, I'm pretty happy with who we got.
Another immensely talented voiceover actress, the illustrious Grey Griffin. She is our Delilah Briarwood.
Villains, I've been playing them for decades, and they're just so deliciously wonderful to play.
Delilah
I'm gonna have to look her
is
up.
a very complicated villain.
I liken her to sort of like a big cat. I'll kill you when I'm feeling like it, but right now I'm just having fun.
She grasped
Her
so
voice
many
sounds very
facets of
familiar, though.
the subtlety and that brimming intensity and threat, while still keeping that cordial, presentery upper crust.
She relishes in the villainous aspect, but she really gets the heart of Delilah.
She does do horrible, horrible things, but it's all in the name of love, so you have to root for her just a little bit.
We also have the talented Darren DePaul joining us as Kyrian Stonefell.
He's grotesque, he's evil, he's disgusting, he is a mess.
Yeah,
So
look
I'm
at that.
sure, of course, Darren. He's disgusting, he's evil, he's a mess. We've got to make it him.
Darren is, I'm not convinced is human. He can make creatures come out of him that don't really make sense.
Nobody's going to get into that part of the basement of their voice like Darren can.
Death to the Derolers! There's the great
Oh, yeah,
joy
that's really
in
good.
playing someone who just doesn't give a damn.
Watching this universe come to life, it's bigger and more complex than I even imagined.
These are adult stories, adult themes, and because it's animated, it means that you can do so much more.
Anything that you can think of, anything that you can dream up, that can be brought to life in the world of animation.
Who would have thought that we would get to tell these stories in this medium, and people aren't ready for how vibrant and exciting it looks.
It's very like
I
those
wasn't ready.
cartoons that you watched
I
as a
lagged
kid.
on this for
It
so
can
long.
reeks of nostalgia, but with swear words. And what could be better?
It feels like our
Exactly.
little group is just starting to expand and grow.
For many, many years, this was truly a world that only existed in a handful of people's imagination.
It feels like these characters that we have lived with for years now have been given new life.
The fact that there are all these critters who are invested in this means that, fuck, it needs to be seen, it needs to be made.
This is because of you, and I know it brings tears to my eyes. It's kind of an amazing thing.
Indulge and engage with this moment that you helped create, because without you, it would not have been.
Knowing that The Legend of Vox Machina was creator made from top to bottom, there's a certain magic to that that I don't think you can get anywhere else.
People say stuff like, this is your world, you created this stuff. Like, I, to a degree, helped to facet it, but I am one of many storytellers in this. Me and all the players at the table, and the community that watch this, and all these artists, developers, and designers. This is a continued expansion of that collaboration, and collaboration is key. This isn't my world anymore. This is our world.
A big family. All ideas come together. All right, that was really dope. Thank you for requesting that I check out the behind the scenes. It was pretty interesting to get some insight, and yeah, it warms my heart for real to like know like their sessions were recorded together, and then, you know, now that COVID over, they're back in a room for season 3 and their new show they had coming out with the Mighty Nine or something like something like that. They're just back in the booth together, and yeah, knowing that what's his name, Brian, the artist, I know, familiar with him. That's pretty cool. And a lot of actors I know, like I knew it was big name actors in here, but it's nice to put a face to the voice. I know so many of them. But all right, y'all, I'll be back sometime this week with the continuing the show. I got a lot to catch up on, and I'll catch you guys in episode 4. Peace.